welcome back to yet another edition of the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. My name is Mac. This is Kim, back from her journey. But today we're going to talk about the fact that both of us might be in a federal prison soon if the DHS has its way. That we are now considered, because of the things we talk about and the things we believe, that we might be a potential terrorist. So let's just say this right out of the gate. We don't, and TJ has said this many times, we don't advocate the breaking of any laws on this channel. So we don't preach hurting people or doing things, and even though we won't say what we can't say, you can fill in your own thoughts there. We're going to go down a list of recent DHS warnings to the public about potential terror threats. The first one is opposition to COVID measures.
I'm in trouble.
Guilty as charged. Yeah, I'm opposed to them because I think they're bullshit. I don't think wearing a mask does anything. And I'll just break it down very simply and just cut to the chase here with what I think, and then you can tell me what you think. Okay. It's a matter of I trust you until you give me reason not to. So it's 14 days to flatten the curve. Just wear a mask. Just wear 2 masks. Just wear 3 masks. 6 feet. And I never understood this part. If the masks work, why the 6 feet? If the 6 feet work, why the mask? If the vaccine works, why the mask and 6 feet? So I know I'm being lied to. And once I know I'm being lied to, my distrust builds and builds and builds. So I don't believe anything Anthony Fauci. If he told me it was daytime, I would go look. That's how much I distrust this man. He said
to put 3 masks on.
Yes. Yes, he did.
I mean, that right there told me that guy's a quack.
Well, then we see examples of this where our beloved Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she goes to parties, she goes to her lake house. Her husband wants to go on his boat. Because at one time we were said we were not to go on a boat onto the...
If it had an engine.
Yeah, if it had an engine opposed to a rowboat. I can't imagine what difference that would make. But we're not to do that. But her husband tried to do it, and he said, I'm the governor's husband. And they were... kudos to the guy. He was like, I don't give a damn whose husband you are. You're not going out. So he upheld the law, which is his job. So I've seen a lot of hypocrisy. I went to Las Vegas. They got advisories and recommendations up the kazoo, and 1,000 examples to contradict those. You don't have to wear one outside, but people are packed in like sardines and like New York, I'm sure is the same way. You're walking down the street. Well, you might be on the street with 15,000 people in your pack going down the Las Vegas Strip. So we see contradictions that undo these recommendations all the time. That's why I don't trust them.
I don't trust them because I'm in the field.
Yeah.
I am seeing the COVID patients. I am seeing the adverse reactions from the vaccinations. And I don't trust them because they won't listen to medical personnel. They only listen to that person up in that ivory tower who has probably never seen a COVID patient in their lives.
Yeah. Wouldn't know one if they fell over it.
That's exactly right. So,
okay, we'll move on to the next of 3. So like I said, we're going to try to keep this brief. Claims of election fraud. Believe Trump will be reinstated. Let me say this. I don't believe he will be reinstated. I mean, we heard the Q people say, on March 1st, because that's supposed to be the real inauguration day, Trump will be inaugurated. I don't buy into the Q stuff. If you want to unsubscribe, go ahead. I can't help you there. And I don't trust the Q people for the same reason I don't trust these people, because they're wrong in their predictions time after time after time. They're wrong. I can't even remember all of the things they said would happen, of course, aren't going to happen. People believe that Nancy Pelosi, when Biden steps down, which is, I think, going to happen before the end of this year, Biden will step down, Kamala Harris will succeed the president and become president herself, and then she will nominate another person to become vice president. Nancy Pelosi does not become president because we have,
Hopefully.
for a whole bunch of reasons, but And here she's on her way out, maybe. But the succession of the president works like this. The only time the Secretary of State can become president is if the president and the vice president either die, become incapacitated, or resign simultaneously. That's the only way she becomes president. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they probably
Unless
have
they
to
take Harris out before.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you mean by take out, but
remove her and Biden at the same time.
yeah, I don't see that happening.
Hopefully not.
I think she's going to want her time at the Resolute desk, just like you or I would. So, do I believe there was election fraud? Absolutely, I believe it. So many indicators that just don't add up. And could they all be coincidence? Sure. But I don't believe they are. I only believe in so many coincidences. The counties, the bellwether counties, Trump took 18 of 19 of those. He took all 4 bellwether states. He had the highest primary percentage of any president ever at 94%. And these are all indicators of who's going to win an election. And the list goes on and on. It's just too many to be a coincidence. And given the fight the Democrats are putting up, I mean, why would I mind an audit on an election I won?
That's right. I don't understand.
See, if they made the argument, hey, it's a waste of money, blah, 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 all right, why am I give that some credibility? Because it is a waste. It would be. Most of what they do is a waste of money. So there's that. I don't know how you feel about reinstatement, because you've got to be careful to be on that list.
I will be on the list. I'm already on the list, I'm sure. First off, I don't believe Trump will be reinstated. Do I think maybe he may run for a position at some times? Yeah, I do believe that, okay?
I think he's running in 2024.
Yeah, I think so. Claims of election fraud. I actually have a claim of election fraud. So I do believe. I was new to the state of Michigan during the COVID thing. Of course, couldn't get a Michigan driver's license or an ID card.
Because of COVID, the Secretary of State, which is our DMV, was closed, and you could only get in by appointment, and you were waiting months for anything.
So Oakland County said for me to get a voter registration, I just had to have a piece of mail sent to my address.
Yeah.
Not an official piece of mail.
I can have a piece of mail sent to your address. What does that prove?
Yeah. And when I offered to show them my Texas ID, they refused. I went to vote, didn't have a Michigan card still. I offered to show them my Texas ID to prove who I was. They weren't interested. Now, the state of Michigan says that you have to show an ID when you
Michigan
vote.
is a voter ID state.
So that in itself tells me there was fraud going on.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a little fraud. Can you imagine how big it is with the mail-in voting and all that stuff?
Well, I knew the purpose of mail-in voting right away was to fix the election. First off, you're going to let, and I did a video on this, you're going to let a labor union who endorses a candidate handle all the ballots, or a lot of the ballots. Tens of millions of ballots, in fact. We did a video on that, or I did a video on that, saying, well, I'd like the NRA to do the ballot counting. I think everyone would lose their mind, including me, if that were suggested. So we'll move on to the next one. You might be a potential terrorist if you celebrate, or this one I'm not really clear. I'm not quite sure what this means. 9/11 anniversary and religious holiday. I guess what they're saying, those religious holidays and 9/11 anniversary are potential threats for terrorism.
Which I can see.
Yeah, but it's who they think the terrorists are. And we all know who they are.
Well, I believe with Biden's joke with the Taliban currently.
Yeah.
Because they get all those Humvees and all the guns and all this.
And they leave this stuff when they leave, by the way.
And I do believe that we're a threat because we left all that stuff over there as we just pulled out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another George Bush folly, in my opinion. We could have been in and out of there in 10 minutes. But, Harry Truman knew how to take care of that problem. So, with that, we're going to close it up. And if you want to add anything to this, write it in the comment section. We love comments.
Please.
As long as you're not insulting, calling me a fat ass or calling her old or what have you.
I don't care anymore. So you
Well,
can call
but
me
here's the
whatever you
thing:
want.
we're not a outlet for your hate. So, but if you've got a constructive comment or an interesting comment, we don't care what you say. But just put it in the comment section. Subscribe, give us a like, and as we always say on the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your six.
And don't tread on me.
Don't tread on me. Thank you.